Okay, so what's yours saying now that I'm
It's
in?
connecting.
Okay, and
Meeting house will let you in soon.
oh shoot. I don't want that to happen for everybody.
Well, if they're on, it's fine.
Yeah, but then do I have to admit every single one?
No, I don't know.
See waiting room.
Did you have to admit me? It says I'm just waiting. You don't have.
No, I have to admit everyone. How do I change that?
I'll just do it now. We'll have to work on it for the next time. Oh, I'm out. Oh, you went off to the side.
Yep, I was going to do my share screen quick so that people.
And I don't see the chat. Where's the chat? Oh, it's still at the bottom.
Oh, don't let me forget to. Oh, we don't want them to use the chat. We want them to use question answer. Is that the chat? Do you see it? Oh, your thing is covered up. Uh-oh, your thing is. No, it's down below where this bar is. Go to view options.
You don't want to do chat? You sure?
Do your, no, we do. Watch. Go to yours, view options. Go to 50% for your screen quick. Okay, so down here, look at what mine says. See down here, this says question answer. Do you see that?
Oh.
So
I think we want to do chat. Look at this one, doesn't have, just do chat. Oh, it's on here now. It's right here, but I can't read it. It's too small. Well, I did 50%. That's why.
These are all popping up. I need to make you a host so that you can admit all these people. Hold on.
No, don't make me a host. Just keep doing it.
No. I mean, so that you can have access to. We're recording already too.
That's right.
Like if I share host, that way I can get started and you can still admit people as they come. Does that make sense? Okay, Brent, I just made you a host. And what I'd like you to do is go ahead, it'll pop up on your screen now so that I don't have to do that. And you should be able to see.
So I just.
Oh, shoot.
Up here, where do I put? Right here, admit?
Yeah, but.
Do I just admit them?
Admit them, but now I need you to, hold on. I need you to go back here to me. Go to more. Make me the host again so I can share my screen. Make host. Yes. There, let me share my screen.
You're letting them in.
Do what I think I should do. I'm going to pull this over to this side so that maybe, because they're going to start trickling in even though we've started. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so,
well, I think we should wait at least a minute after they Just get them all in. We have 4 minutes left.
So as everyone is joining our virtual presentation, could you please put in the question answer or the chat below, hello, so that we know who is here with us tonight? So in the chats, if you don't mind just saying hello. Again, it might be different for everyone, but at the bottom of your screen, you should see something that says either Q&A or chat at the bottom of your screen. And you should be able to click into
Oh, somebody can't hear.
They are all muted, so someone can't hear. Hello, I'm just going to do some sound check. Ty Burkhart, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Perfect. I just want to make sure. Some people are saying they can't hear. Aaron, you may need to check. I muted everyone when they come in. So please check your volume at the bottom. You may be muted.
Did you unmute her, Aaron?
Let me see if I can. So I appreciate everyone being patient with us as we are doing our sound checks. Aaron, I'm going to try to unmute you from here. Aaron, how about you try to disconnect and come back into the meeting? Can you type that to her? For those of you that can hear me, it's 6:01. We're going to just give a couple more minutes to allow for people to join in. This will also be recorded. So if for any reason you get disconnected or you're not able to come back into the meeting, we will be recording the meeting and we will send you the recording link. So everyone will have access to the link.
Aaron's in. We're good.
Perfect. Aaron, you can hear us okay? Okay, again, as you guys are joining, if you don't mind, please use the chat to say hello so that we can see who has joined us tonight. And again, this is the parent session for CPU virtual online learning for the K-5 parents, K-5 parents. So if you are a 6-8 parent and you do not have a K-5 student, you do not need to attend tonight's parent session. I can't see. Is anybody still waiting to hop on? Can you see?
Let's see, I think we have almost everyone. I'll try to keep an eye on it.
Okay. Okay. Are we ready to go ahead and get started
I
then?
think we are.
Okay. We're going to go ahead and get started. Let me share my screen. Again, this presentation will be shared with everyone. Everyone should be able to see my presentation that says CPU Virtual Online Learning. So for those of you who do not know me, oh, yes. Okay. I have Mr. Winterhoff here with me. So we're going to kind of co-host the presentation tonight. He is going to help with the question answers. I am Jennifer Burkhardt, Director of Instructional Services, Curriculum, and Special Education, as well as Communications at Centerpoint Urbana. All emails for our virtual learning will actually go to CPU online at cpuschools.org. And Mr. Winterhoff is our CPU Virtual Online Coordinator. So I am actually going to let him step in and introduce himself.
Hello, welcome everybody. I'm Brent Winterhoff. I used to be the middle school principal, took a year off, and I'm helping get this started. And I'm excited to be back doing this.
Okay, and for getting started, Mr. Winterhoff is actually going to be available with office hours from 8 to 10 each day. He will try to check email throughout the day to hopefully help parents get up and get started. If you have questions about either the curriculum or technology that he may be able to assist with, he will help you to do that as well. And I'm sorry, I just want to make sure that I keep checking to see if we have people that are like sitting out here that need to be admitted. So into the waiting room. So I'm going to just peek at that until we're completely up and going here. Okay. Our agenda tonight, our purpose is to introduce ourselves. So we would actually like you simply to type hello in the chat. It's at the bottom of your screen. It may say question answer, or it may also just say chat, depending on what version of this that you're using. So we're going to try and take attendance for this tonight, just so that we know who has seen the video. It will be recorded, and we will send a link to everyone so that you will also have the email, or excuse me, the link. The other thing that we wanted to say as we get started, we're in our agenda, introductions, expectations, and guidelines. We have a Google survey that was sent out to parents on Monday night. If you have not filled out the Google survey for specifically only to the CPU Virtual Online Learning students, we ask that you fill out that Google survey and get it back to us as quickly as possible. I also am going to need to add something in this presentation about offering lunch to students. We're going to hopefully discuss what the role of the virtual teacher and parent is. I think somebody is in the room. We're going to talk about what Calvert Learning, which is the program in Edmentum that K-5 students will use, family resources, a look into Calvert Learning, and then of course a time for parents to ask questions and answer, hopefully get answers.
Also, if you do have questions for us, and we will wait till the end to answer any of them. So if you think you won't remember the question, just type it in to that chat room and we'll look at those at the end, or you can wait until the end to put your questions in also. But we will not answer them until we get completely done, because we may answer it along the way. Yes.
So during the presentation, we do expect to have many people on this Zoom that may trickle in. So when you join the Zoom, everyone will be muted. So if you are not muted, please mute yourself. And we would like to use the chat, just like Mr. Winterhoff said, to take questions. And we will then work through those questions that are posted in the chat for everyone. So we ask, please, that you do not post back and forth conversations in the chat or the questions, but just the questions. Otherwise, Mr. Winterhoff and I will have a hard time trying to find the actual questions that need to be answered. So please only add questions or your hello that you are here so that we can limit the traffic that is in the chat. Again, we'll answer those at the end of the presentation. And this presentation will be recorded, and we will send a link where it will be posted on the CPU webpage for Return to Learn in the virtual learning. Okay, our CPU online virtual teachers. Our hope is that we are going to have identified in each building, based on the CPU enrollment survey, one teacher from each building or teachers that will be designated as the CPU online virtual teacher. We will share those teachers with you as soon as the details are finalized. Remember, this will do with their contract. It will have to do with time available. We're hoping to get each teacher approximately 2 hours per school day as office hours so that those teachers are available throughout a regular school day to hold office hours. Again, our hope is that in addition to Mr. Winterhoff, who will be available as the online coordinator, we will have identified at least one teacher per building to serve as the CPU virtual teacher. So expectations and guidelines. As you guys all know, we have never held or hosted a online learning experience in Centerpoint Urbana. So our expectations and guidelines are that with our virtual students, our goal is that our start date may likely be staggered for students and families between August 24th and August 31st. We are going to do our very best to have people up and going for the first day of school on August 24th. But with the program right now, we are limited in the access that we've been given. And of course, as you guys know, we have a very short amount of time to get students registered, enrolled, devices to families, etc. And we're going to talk about all of that. So our expectations for CPU virtual online learning, we want you all to know that online learning is required. I say that because unlike in the spring, it was voluntary. This learning will be required. The learning this year is different, and it will not just be a review. These will be new skills that will be taught to your child each day, and it will be required. Expectations and guidelines. So our preschool, if you are a preschool parent and you have chosen the virtual enrollment option, preschool will not be using this online curriculum. Our preschool teacher will contact each family that has a preschooler, hopefully by next week, or you will be contacted next week by the preschool teacher that will be helping with your preschool 4-year-old or 3-year-old online. The primary and intermediate CPU virtual online learning will be through a company called Edmentum. And the curriculum that is used for K-5 students is called Calvert Learning. So the program that you will be using is going to be Calvert Learning for K-5 kids. The expectations and guidelines, the middle school presentation is going to be on Thursday. So if you are a K-5 parent and you are also a middle school or high school parent, the middle school presentation is going to be on Wednesday from 6:30 to 7:30. So we would ask that you attend both just to make sure that you're seen, because the program that is used for a middle school student is a different program than what will be used for a K-5 student. Both are purchased by Edmentum, but different programs. So we want to make sure that we answer questions that will be specific to each of those programs. At the high school, the CPU virtual online learning will be done with Apex. Communication was just sent last week to all of the student school emails from Carrie Talbot, who is the high school counselor. So if you are a high school parent or you're a K-5 parent with a high schooler, you will want to make sure that you ask your student to log into their school email for an email from Mrs. Talbot to start registering students on Apex. Okay, expectations and guidelines for a primary and intermediate student. Online learning instructional time will be approximately 1.5 hours to 2 hours. We are trying to correlate the online learning instructional time to the developmental age of a student and what the research says about online learning. So you can expect during the day, you will need to set aside your time for that 2 hours if you have a primary or intermediate student. We are also requiring that students will, in the primary and intermediate, will do English, language arts, and reading, which is together. The reading is integrated into the ELA. And then you will also be required to do core math. We will offer electives, which will be optional. Our goal is that we want to get our students and families into their required curriculum before offering electives, which are going to be optional. And we'll explain a little more with that toward the end of the presentation with Mr. Winterhoff. So for example, when we say 1.5 to 2 hours for a primary intermediate student, that means you may be on an English language arts lesson for 30 to 45 minutes for that lesson for the day, but you may also have some outside activities or learning that may occur offline. Our expectations and guidelines, we'll go through this on Wednesday for middle school parents, but just because we want to be able to show a K-5 parent also how it's different. Online learning instructional time for a middle schooler is 2 to 3 hours. They will also be required for English, language arts, and reading, as well as math. And then they will be required to do an alternate day of science and social studies, and electives will be optional. Again, a sample lesson time for that student could be 60 minutes, and then the expectation that you will have outside activities or learning that occurs offline as well. So our goal is that we want to try and not replicate, but provide curriculum opportunities and electives that would be similar to what the student would experience in their grade level at school here as closely as we can.
Today also I sent out some sample schedules. And again, those are just samples. You change those to what you want or need for your situation and your family. And you might say, well, it looks like there's 4.5 hours of stuff on here and it says 1.5 to 2. Well, remember we include recess and lunch, and I put in things in there like, do you want to set up a free reading time or read a book or some drawing time or some other things to do. So you guys with your child, depending on the age, you sit down and you come up with that schedule that works best for you and your family. And, you know, I had it started at 8:30, 9:30. You might not want to start till 11, depending on your situation, or you might want to just do afternoons. So don't think you have to be set to the school schedule or to those I sent out to you. Those are just examples, and you change them to meet your needs.
Okay, so uniquely, just like everything else with people coming to school face-to-face, we also have several kiddos that we will be dealing with on a case-by-case basis, because our goal is to develop a program for these students that will provide them success, just like we would if they were here with us face-to-face. So students, if your student is going to be CPU virtual and has an IEP, we are going to be reaching out to you for online learning with your child, because that needs to be a decision with the IEP team. So we are going to be reaching out to parents to have a meeting that doesn't necessarily have to be an IEP meeting. We can make amendments to the IEP, but we do want to make sure that the services are provided for your child and that your child is having success in CPU virtual. So we will be reaching out to parents who have students with an IEP. If your student has a 504 and you will be going to online learning, that we need to ensure the needs of your child are met. So we will also be reaching out to parents who have a child with a 504 plan. Also, our students that will be on a case-by-case basis are our students who have been identified as TAG, and we will hopefully be able to offer those TAG enrichment activities as well. But again, that's going to be a decision that will be based on our CPU team, the TAG teacher, the student family, principal, and a gen ed teacher. So we will be also reaching out to those of you who will be having, who have a child that will be with TAG enrichment as well. Accessible materials. It's extremely important to us that all families have the materials accessible to you to make online learning successful. So technology devices will be provided to each student if needed. Mr. Winterhoff sent another Google survey that went out in the email on Monday night. And even if you have a technology device at home already, but that is a device that you need to do to work from home, or you don't have enough devices, then this device will be offered to you through the district. And we will be setting up a time where you will be able to pick up a technology device as well as the online learning materials that will be printed for each student and family, so that you have access to the curriculum online, but also will have printed materials if you would like to have the printed materials as well. We don't want to make the assumption that every family has access to a printer and printing several documents. So our hope is that we will be able to put packets together, grade level packets together with materials printed for each student and family. Also, we do have some families that do not have internet access at all. Our hope is to get you a hotspot, and that would be, again, something that you would answer in the survey that was sent to you by Mr. Winterhoff. So if you do not have internet at your home, a hotspot will be provided to your family. And again, that's something you need to indicate to us that was sent in the survey on Monday night. So that's very important that we get the survey responses back from families so we know what your needs are. Okay, so this is something too, we have not had CPU virtual online learning before. So we've not had a teacher that has been assigned a role as virtual teacher. So I appreciate everyone being patient with us as we kind of work through what will that look like. So our hope is to go through the next couple of slides and share with families what the role of the teacher is for the virtual teacher, the role of the parent, student, and school administrator. Okay, the role of CPU virtual online teacher is the teacher is going to monitor and communicate with parents and students about progress on a consistent schedule. So in Calvert Learning, there is a component to the learning that is in the platform that allows for that back-to-back or back and forth conversation between student and CPU virtual teacher. It's important that you know the CPU virtual teacher online that's going to be online is the main person responsible for communicating with families on behalf of the district and school. So we are hoping that if you have made the decision to be in CPU virtual online, your communication will now flow through the virtual teacher assigned to you, as well as the online coordinator, which will be Mr. Winterhoff. If your questions are still not answered, or if you felt like you weren't given assistance, then of course you can reach out to your building principal. But you will be communicating within our CPU virtual now so that conversations and communication does not become fragmented. Oh, they must be talking to you. It keeps popping up on my screen. Okay. Oh. It's hard to read in presenter view.
Like what I get.
Hey Jen, this is Ty. We're just seeing a small little, the slide isn't taking up the whole screen. We're seeing like your view of it. So it's really small for us.
Okay, thank you for telling me that. Okay.
Is it maybe because you have your chat on the side of it? Like maybe if you take the chat away, because it was fine earlier.
Okay,
Yeah, I got
thank
the
you.
chat.
Okay. Now, is that better?
It didn't change for me.
You need to put it in. Shouldn't it be the whole screen?
Well, I thought. Okay,
No,
just
you need to get rid of this.
okay, hold on. Let me see. We're having technical difficulties. Let me see what I can do here. Hold on.
There we go. Is that better?
Nope, because now they just see me. Okay.
Yeah, I just see the group of people now, Jen.
Yep,
On my,
okay, hold on.
Yep.
Am I still a host?
There. That looks-
Okay. Oh my
Thank-
goodness. I'm so sorry. Luckily, this is being recorded, so now everybody can go back and see. I'm gonna start back here. How about I start back here? Okay, so we're going to outline the virtual teacher, parent, student, and school admin. I think this is the slide I left off on about communicating with families. So the CPU teacher that will be assigned to you will be your first mode of communication. And then also Mr. Winterhoff will be available as well from 8 to 10 every day to help answer communication, curriculum, monitoring questions as well. Okay. CPU virtual learning program for each student and family will be set up for you inside Calvert Learning. And when I pass this off to Mr. Winterhoff, he's going to show you a little bit more what that's going to look like inside the actual curriculum. The virtual online teacher does not provide live lessons. The parent is the teacher. So inside Calvert Learning, you will have videos of the lesson. You will have videos of them explaining the lessons to you, but you truly will be the teacher that is with your child during that time. So the live lessons will not come from a CPU teacher. That will come from the Calvert Learning curriculum. Also, the CPU virtual online teacher, we have found, and we're still learning this, so I appreciate you guys being patient with us. We're just actually getting into and admitted into the actual curriculum today. Like, they're very slow on their end. We are finding that the Calvert Learning does have what's called mastery assessments, and Mr. Winterhoff will talk more about the assessments, but those will be things that we will try to have the virtual online teacher maybe interact with. And again, he will share more of that here in the next couple of slides. Okay, so parent. The parent, for which is you, are going to serve as the primary day-to-day teacher for your child, and you'll be providing that instruction using Calvert's curriculum. Okay, so that's the most important thing that we want all teachers to, or all parents to understand, that when you are deciding to have your child enroll in CPU Virtual Online, the curriculum will be provided to you. but the teacher, day to day, every day, is going to be you. You will be providing your child's direct instruction using the Calvert Learning curriculum, which the district has purchased for each student that enrolls. You will be responsible for creating a regular routine for your child or children and set clear expectations for what learning will look like at home. And again, Mr. Winterhoff sent out some sample schedules or routines, and we're going to try and help everyone the best that we can, because ultimately we want all students and parents to feel success since you've made the choice to be online. So we're going to try and help you with how that looks to create the schedules as well. Also, the role of the parent, you will review your child or your children's work each day, and you're going to be providing feedback to your child. The program does grade the work. So if you are doing lessons and you are providing work within the program will grade your child's work. When it is a day where your child is going to do a pre or post assessment or a mastery assessment, then you become the proctor for the assessment. That's going to be extremely important that we understand the role of a proctor as well as a parent. So we'll get into that. You will have access to CPU Virtual Online Teacher to ask any questions regarding curriculum or technology that may arise during the school day. And we're hoping that each teacher will hold what we're going to call right now office hours that will be approximately 2 hours each day. And again, Mr. Winterhoff will also be available from 8 to 10 each day. Okay, so Mr. Winterhoff is also going to talk about lunch before we transition into what it looks like in Calvert curriculum.
All right, hopefully this afternoon, Christy Bruce was going to send a note out about lunches, and all of you can get lunches at CPU. She's going to have a survey on there, and you need to complete that, and you will have to, or someone will have to pick up the lunches at school. And all of the prices would remain the same. Free and reduced would also apply, and so forth. So make sure you reply to that, because the district will do whatever we need to along that line also. A couple other things to remember. I know we keep talking about, teachers, and Calvert will be the teacher online, but it's still important, especially depending on the age of the student, that there is some adult there with them, especially the younger kids. The older kids, you might be able to leave them, but you still need to check up on them, because we all know what some kids do. They will rush through things and they'll say, I'm done. And you'll look at it and say, well, you didn't even get any right. Then you can go back and redo. So it is important that they have people with them. And when we talk about this program, this first slide up in the right-hand corner where it has Project Learn, Use, and Show, this is what Edmentum uses for their K-8 program, that you do projects throughout the unit. There's learning, then you use the projects, and at the end you will show. We will not be doing the projects. They will be blocked when you get on there. And if you would like to do them or do part of them, all you need to do is contact myself or one of the instructors, and they will unlock it and you can work on it. The reason we're not doing that is the grading for it is very intense. It's like writing a paper, and then someone will have to spend an hour or two grading it. There are many rubrics involved, plus the supplies that are needed. I know they say during this that it's just supplies that you would have around the house. Well, I don't know if everyone has little tubes for science or bowling balls or different things like that. I know you could make do with other things, but at this point, we don't know if that's the most important thing we should be doing. So we will be focusing on the learn part. So when you get on there, you will see, and you click on, like on the bottom on this screen, you would click on the unit, it would open up and you would see which lessons are learn, which lessons are project, and you would go through the learn lessons. Okay? Next slide. Okay, this is the curriculum, and required for K-5 will be the English Language Arts, which includes reading, but the name of the course will be English Language Arts, and math. To start out with, we will just have those two courses available, and those two will be required. Those are what the virtual online teachers will be checking, will be monitoring, will be giving you feedback, and so forth. In probably mid-September, I will send out an email, and it will come from cpuonline@cpuschools.org, and we will add science and social studies on there. And if your child is interested in some, or you see some interesting lessons yourself, you guys can go ahead and work on those, maybe during a reading time or free time or whatever else would work in your day. So you would have those available. And also, all of you will have these types of things available for you also. And I think it's on the left side when you get in, additional support pieces. You'll have Discovery Ed, which has information, videos, and so forth, and Brain Pop, which I'm not too familiar with, Explore Learning, Legends of Learning games, and so forth. So there's a lot of things available to you and the students that are on there. Also, you can see we do have some extra courses in health and PE, and I'll be adding those on there throughout also. And you can, again, choose if you would like to do those or a few lessons out of there. Again, no one will be monitoring those. They'll just be an option that you can use. Okay, the projects. Here is an example of a project. And if you want to look closer at them, when you get going, just email one of us and we'll open it up for you. You can just look at it if that's what you would like to do. And again, those are not required. You do not have to do them and so forth. And you can see the rubric that's with it. And that's why the grading portion is so difficult, because actually as a parent, you would know, being the teacher with them daily, how they're doing on this rubric. To have a teacher at school grade that when they can't see how they progressed in thought and worked throughout the whole unit, it's really difficult to do. And I don't think the kids would get much out of the grading portion of it, as much as they might get out the actual doing portion of it. And here's some projects that they came up with, boards, posters, drawings, music, so forth. And then they would use them on one of their assessments. So there are different types of assessments. If they're one that applies to your project, we would block those. If there are other ones, of course, then the student would be able to go and do those. And you can see the assessments that I have seen so far have not been that lengthy. They might be not many questions, but sometimes they will take a lot of thinking and processing to do, and that's okay. So they might not look like a test that you would see in school where there's many questions on it. And also a little bit about the program itself. When we get the emails out to you with the username and password for the students, there will also be a separate one for parents. And I really enjoyed this part so far. We have not been able to get into it. Like Jennifer said, it hasn't been given to us that we have access, but we've taken training. But as a parent, you are going to get access to this site also, but it's not just the student site. You are getting access to the answer key. So when we get to that in just a minute, you will see that you will have what the students see, but you're going to have notes and you're going to have answers and you're going to have a lot of things. So if any of you wanted the teacher's textbook when you were in school, you're getting one now. So you'll enjoy that. But a couple other things that you will notice, and students through our school, except for kindergarten, might already know how to use these, but there will be some boxes up in the right corner. So you can click on one of them and it will be text to speech. So it will read the whole story to the student. There will also be some where you can highlight parts of it and it will read that portion to you, and so forth. So make sure you use those. And the first lessons that students will do, and I would encourage all of you to do those with your student, is you will go through, they call it getting started, but you will just do some practice things so you know how to use the site and what you will be learning throughout the year. Okay, here's the page that looks like, so you can see in this corner, kind of the top right corner, the teaching notes. You can turn those off and you can turn those on. If you turn them off, your page will look just like the students. And one thing they said that causes a problem sometimes when you do that, and a student comes over to your computer or on your site, if they do the work, it will not record it for them. So either use two computers, or if you want to log on in a different browser than the student, then that way the student will do their work on their site and you can either show them things on your site and so forth. So I think this is a really neat portion of it. For those of you that have students in 6th through 8th grade, they do not give the parents that portion of it for 6th through 8th grade. It's only K-5. And other resources you'll have a parent success zone that has websites for you to use. If you think, oh, my students, need some more practice with reading, there will be reading activities, math, a whole bunch of things. There will be webinars that will be ongoing from Calvert if you would ever like to join those. And of course, there's technical support and so forth. If you contact me and I can't resolve it, I will be contacting these people. Okay, parent orientations. If you noticed in the long email that I sent out to you, I have done 2 parent orientations. One was a taped one, and I shared that with you. And then I went to one last evening. It was exactly the same. So if you don't have time to do one of these and you would like to watch the taped one, or you don't have a whole hour to devote to that, feel free to use the taped one and you can stop it throughout. Also, if your student probably is 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, it might be okay for part of it that you show them what is on there, because you will not get access to this at the earliest August 24th, or August 24th, because it will not show up for you when you log on until the class starts, which is August 24th. So feel free to use these however you wish, and notice that the classes go into September too. So if you think, oh, I don't need that, and then later you go, oh, I would like to go to one of those, they do the same thing where you can put questions throughout the chat if you would like some things answered at the end. Hey, a really neat feature also is they have this daily guide. So you can see that, day 1, these are the things that you would do. And you would have just the English language arts and math on there. Those would be your activities that you would do. And through this calendar, you can click right on those underlined blue things and go right to that lesson. You don't have to go into the program and find it and so forth. So you could do that if they wish, or you can go right here. And it will not move on to day 2. So you might be doing things in day 2 and 3 in some courses, but it won't move on till the next day until you get everything in one completed. And that means that, let's say a student takes one of those assessments and it goes to one of the teachers at the primary. They look at it and they send back, oh, you need to redo this. Go through and do these lessons again, and then retake it here in the next few days. It will not move on until that is completed. It doesn't mean you can't move on and do some other lessons, down the road, but this will move and kind of keep you paced up so you can kind of see where you're supposed to be. Okay, expectation for online students. 5 out of the 7 days of the week. So if in your household it works out to do, Tuesday through Saturday, then that's what you set up, and I would be consistent with that as possible. Work completion in a timely manner. There will be a couple things on your pages that will say, here is where you should be 5 days in, and you can see where the student is. You can say, hey, we're pretty close. The thing to remember is that so far what I've seen in these is that it takes, so if we go the first semester, first trimester, that might be 60 school days, but it might be 95 actual days. It uses 95 days to pace out everything. So if you're a little bit ahead, that's not a problem either. So make sure you watch with that, and check with the student, and we'll be watching that also, and send notes to either you or the student, and let them know how they're doing with that. One thing we would like to do is we would like the student to communicate with the teacher, and you'll be getting an email hopefully this weekend with those teachers' names and their email and the times that they will be available. And remember, if you send an email, they just might not reply till that time of day. It will not be a back and forth thing. So if the student would like to call them, email, there's also a communication tool on this program. And when you see it, it's an envelope up there. You can click on it and you can type in, hey, how's everything going at CPU? Hopefully your day is going great. And the teacher can reply back. Or they can say, I did this project. I know it's not graded, but I want to tell you a little bit about it. And they go ahead and do that. All that's perfectly fine. Okay, guidelines for student success. And some of these are repeats, but we think they're really important. Don't be afraid to set goals. Have the student write down a goal, how far they would like to get, how they would like to do on an assessment, how much they would like to read in their book that week, and so forth. And place it on the refrigerator, side of the refrigerator, door, going to the bathroom, wherever it would help. Spend 4 hours a day. Again, that's including lunch, recess, if you want to have art, free reading. I think with the online stuff, the 1.5 to 2 hours is plenty. And if you can tell, your kids, if hey, we've been doing this for 20 minutes, I can feel frustration. We're going to have 10 minutes extra of recess. We're going to come back to it either the next day or in the afternoon or something like that. That is fine. Okay, make sure that, that's what everyone would do. So do that too. Don't think you have to, hold them there and make sure that they do it. Of course, there will be times you might have to do that a little bit, but if frustration is starting, we don't need to keep doing that. It's not good for you. It's not good for the student, but it doesn't mean they don't do it. They do it at another time. Establish that routine. And I know the first few weeks you might have to play with it a little bit. You might have 45 minutes for math, and you might think, oh, I need to back it up to 30. And then as you go further into the year, you might say, oh, we need more time. We're not quite having enough time. We're kind of stopping in the middle, and I don't want to do that. Okay, so make sure you establish that regular routine. Oh, excuse me. I need to go back here. Okay, and it's read and listen to the teacher's feedback with your child and create a plan to incorporate. So if, they took one of those little assessments and the teacher says, it looks like you're not, carrying correctly, make sure that you put that number above the row to the left or whatever needs to happen. Make sure that next time your child's working on that, include that as a reminder. Or have the child read through it too, because it's their work that they'll be doing. Okay, establish that routine. Also, depending on the age, have your student help with that routine also. That way then they take more ownership with it. Build in study breaks and opportunities for movement. The elementary, they have at least an hour's worth of recess or close to it every day. So think about that as you, build your day. Set aside a dedicated space for schooling, keeping interruptions to a minimum. I also think, I've been retired for a year, so my getting going in the morning and looking like I'm ready to do something probably is not always the best. And, in college, you see kids that look like they really just rolled out of bed. But I don't know if that's always good. So, come up with a plan, get ready, don't just come out in your pajamas. Dedicated space for schooling, keep interruptions to a minimum, take those phones, you can throw them out the window or whatever you want to do with them, use them, keep those down to a minimum, and, it's school time, you're going to do this work. Okay, when it's time for test, you become the proctor. At that point, the student should be able to do the work or think through the process on their own. So as a proctor, you know, again, they need quiet. They don't need their notes unless, of course, it says on there to use something that they will give them. And, you know, if they're having trouble with something, there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, remember we did this last week? It was the day where, you know, we got out the marbles or something where we counted. You know, there's no giving a little hint or reminder, not a problem. Don't give them answers or work through it with them, because then it's not a test. Then it goes back to some of those other practices you were doing before. And also, I do believe we can have students retake those tests. And we would. We would. They will be locked before the test to make sure that they do all of everything they need to first before they get to the test. And then they will have to contact one of us. We will unlock it. They will take the test, and then it will lock back up again. So to unlock it, you would have to contact us and say, or we will contact you and say, hey, we're unlocking this. They need to retake it again. Review lessons days in advance for that. So, you know, if they're getting ready for a test, there's a note section that they will have, and they'll be able to take notes, or they'll be able to go back and review some of the lessons, especially those they might have had some difficulty with. And, you know, that nothing wrong with doing that. You know, if in school they have to take the test when everybody else does, you don't have to do that. And if you see that they need some more review, you can say, hey, we're going to review another half hour, and then maybe you can do some tonight, and we're going to wait one more day to take the test. That is perfectly fine. Allow time to reflect on lessons and decide what worked and maybe what need to be changed for the following week. Okay, communication. I'll keep going. So first of all, I'll skip down to number 2 there. Next week on Monday through Thursday or whatever days you're getting started, if you have problems logging on or with technology, email me directly. Okay, don't go to the virtual teacher, just email me directly. I will be there, and I'll probably be there all day long, just around my computer so I can keep checking and I can get something taken care of, hopefully immediately. But once we get going with the year, your first question should be to the virtual online teacher. If you don't like how they resolved it, or you don't think they're in a timely manner, or maybe they're sick and we haven't let you know that, you know, then contact me. If they have a question and can't answer it, they're going to come to me also. I'll be meeting with them either once or twice a week. So we will have communication also. And if we get to a point where you have other questions that maybe I can't answer, I will go to the building principal so we can help you out the best that we can. The CPU classroom teacher, which we have left all of the students that have signed up for online, they're still enrolled in all the classes at the school, including through high school and down to preschool. So the teachers will share some things with you sometimes. Now, it does not mean, like, if they're saying, hey, remember everyone needs to bring from home something that their grandpa gave them, you know, for a show and tell type thing, you know, they're probably not going to include you on that because you don't need to do that. But they will try to keep as much communication as possible. We will also have you on enrolled to get the Friday folder information emailed out every week. So if you're not getting those things, please email me so I can work that out and help you out the best that we can. All right. If you would like to put some questions on the chat room, you know, go ahead and do so. And we will go from there. Also, a quick reminder, please complete that survey tonight. It's due by 4 o'clock tomorrow because we're planning on the computers and the hotspots. I know we're not, you know, we have a quick turnaround, and I will probably send you too many emails right now, but watch for those emails from cpuonline@cpuschools.org, because I will send out about when we're going to be picking up the computers. I'm shooting for Friday, hopefully, to have it all organized by then, and I will send you a time. And if the time I give you does not work for you, please email me back, and I'll set up something else to help you out. Because we want to get those devices out to you as soon as possible, and we will go from there. The other thing, you know, we talked a little bit about, we have a 6 through 8 one on Wednesday night, tomorrow night. The beginning of it will probably be very similar to this. And some of the things we talk about during the actual programming will be similar, but they're 2 different programs. And so you decide if you feel you need to come to that one or not. And we will also have those both online. And as soon as we get them online, hopefully by Thursday, I will email each link out to you so you can rewatch them or watch them if you missed one or so forth. So there will be 2 for the Calvert, the K-5, and 1 for the 6-8. All right? Okay, question and answer.
Okay, so this is how we are going to do our question answer session. So hopefully the questions will start coming in on the chat. And our hope is that we will be able to answer these questions for you. So that's why we wanted to limit conversations happening throughout the chat, so that Mr. Winterhoff and I can go back into read questions. So first thing, just so you all know, this is recorded. And number 2, I will create a PDF of the presentation from tonight, since I screwed up the view of the presentation. So I will have those available as well. And I'm just going to.
I have the first question.
I forgot to share this. So on, where's my share? Okay, right here really quickly. On the CPU webpage, if you go to we are going to put a link to CPU Virtual or Return to Learn here under latest news. If you go to district and go to the left-hand bar, you should see something that says Return to Learn. And I have a CPU Virtual Online Learning, where I will post these presentations and PDFs, as much communication as we can. And we will be utilizing the email distribution that Mr. Winterhoff will be emailing information to all of you as well. So please know that tonight's presentation will be shared with you in a recording, as well as the slides in a PDF. So Mr. Winterhoff said we have our first question. And the question is, so the link, okay.
Yeah.
So the question,
I was gonna do it.
Okay.
So the link to the software will come out this weekend. And then the follow-up to that is, what is the program if it isn't Calvert for the middle school? So first of all, we sent these in, and even though it's the same company, Calvert and the 6-8 portion, which is courseware, run their businesses totally separate and in a different manner. By Thursday, I think we would be ready to start the 6-8 portion of it in courseware. We set up all the courses, we have all the kids in. There's just a few things I need to tweak and we'll be ready to go. We have not gotten anything back yet from Calvert.
correct.
And they just emailed us and said that they think it could take us a little bit longer because they're running behind. My goal is that as soon as we get the information, I will start working on it, and I hope to get those to you this weekend. And in it, you will have an email, and it will say what the address for the login page is, and then it will have the login for the student, and you will have a login for the parent. Okay, and those are 2 separate ones. I hopefully after tomorrow night's meeting, if things go well tomorrow during the day, I will start sending out the 6-8 links and emails or username and passwords Thursday night or Thursday. So that's kind of where we are. I was hoping to have it so we could get it a little more organized and not quite be so rushed, but it's not working out that way. So I'm hoping this weekend. So that's why we're allowing, a whole week for you to start. And if I hear things from them the next couple days and they say, it's going to take 2 more days, and I'm going to say, I'll let you know that. So I'll keep in communication so you can kind of schedule your plans also.
Okay. The next question that I see says, can you give us days and times for 5th grade band and choir? That is a great question. And I did not get that before tonight's presentation. So we will get the answer to that for you and include that in our FAQs after tonight. Because for those of you that are enrolled in CPU virtual online learning, you do still have the option to come to the school for band, choir, sports, and a school-based club that is available to you. So I will definitely look to find the grade 5th grade band and choir times for you.
What we'll probably do is, because it's always so confusing when then we have like Labor Day and stuff, and it kind of throws things off. We'll probably get a calendar, and I will email it out just to everyone so they have it. And we'll also put it on the page, so it's available on the virtual page also. So thank you for bringing that up, whoever did. I don't know who that was. Jana.
No, Angie.
Angie.
Okay.
And we'll get that out there. And I'll probably just do 5th through 8th grade. And so everyone has it, because I know there's some in every grade that will be participating in band and choir.
Okay, are there more questions? Again, are the kids allowed to use the school library to check out books, or do we need to use Centerpoint Library for free reading books? That is another great question. And we're going to have to find the answer to that, whether or not the library is open for students with CPU virtual.
Well,
I'll need to get back to you on that.
We will get back to you, but my thought is it's kind of up to you. If you want to drop your child off and have them go up and spend 15 minutes and get a couple books, I don't probably see there's an issue with that, if that's something you would wish to do. And you can always use the public library. I mean, that's always available too. So we will get that answer out for sure, but I would say it's probably okay to do that if you feel it's okay to do that. Because we have other students coming in for band and choir. So that's really kind of no different.
Right. So great question. And we will get back to you. Another question. Is there a place that the school communicates sports practice? I found the games, but not practices. I feel like the kids usually bring this info home from school. I don't want to miss out on anything, or will this be included in the calendars that you were offering too?
We will have to get those, because they're usually not on those calendars. But I will head up there tomorrow and try to get 7th and 8th grade schedules for cross country, volleyball, cheer, football, and so forth. The high school probably already has theirs because they have already started. So we will get that and get that out to you guys as soon as possible. Again, we'll probably put it on the link, and I'll email it out to everybody just so everybody has it.
We are asking parents as well. That is a question that we asked within the Google survey that we're asking everyone to complete, that was sent out on Monday night. We're asking just to make sure, so that if you are planning to attend sports or some of these other curricular, band, choir, or a school club, we would like to know that in advance so that we can speak with coaches, get practice schedules, and be able to communicate that to you. So yes, we will do our very best to get those communications out to everyone about sports practices if your child is going to choose to do a sport.
And if any of you are wondering about, signups and that sort of thing, because it's kind of difficult to do if you're not there, my plan is by 4 o'clock tomorrow, these are all due. And so tomorrow evening, I will sit down and I will print out who is going out for 7th and 8th grade football. Send those to the middle school, to the coaches and so forth, so they know. And same thing with volleyball or cross country and band and choir. And then we'll go from there and see how that works. My suggestion is if you feel like you missed something or somebody's missed you, send me an email. I'm just sitting at home all day, so I can call up to the middle school or whatever building needs to be contacted, and we'll try to figure out what needs to happen there.
Okay, the next question coming in. How will the school notify us when there are changes in the schedules, again, for like band and choir? Great question. We are going to work on that calendar, and, you know, like if band were canceled for 5th grade or something like that. Again, I would like for parents to remain on your principal's all communication. I think that will continue to be helpful for you to be connected to your building, just to know those things that are still happening. So for example, if Mr. Haslett sends out an email about band and choir being canceled, you are on that email as well. And we will make sure to talk about that and figure that out. So I appreciate that question about band and choir again.
And again, we have left every single student in the courses that they were registered for before, you know, all this happened at the end of last year. So they will be on the email list when teachers generate and so forth, unless they're deleted. So we have encouraged everyone to leave everybody on. So you might get some extra things that you think, you know, I really don't need to know that everyone needs to bring a banana tomorrow to do this activity, you know, during health class. It might not apply to you, but at least then you'll get the things that you really want to get also.
Will we still be offered the Scholastic book orders? That's a great point, and we will write that down, because I think that that would not be a problem at all, that we submit regular, I think usually book orders are probably offered monthly, that we could offer Scholastic book orders to online parents. Thank you for the question. For Calvert Learning, we are wondering why only math and language arts and not science and social studies, art, music, and other subjects. Sorry if you already covered this. Our internet was impacted by the storms. No problem. Okay, so we are offering, Mr. Winterhoff went over previously, the district has purchased the suite, and within the Calvert Learning K-5 suite, all 4 cores will be available. We are only going to start by turning on the required, which is going to be English language arts, reading, and math. And about mid-September, we will open up the other science, social studies, and electives to parents that would like to have those available to their children. We did not want to open everything up at once because we did not want people to feel overwhelmed. And again, you will have access to the core subjects and electives, but math and language arts are the only that will be required, because those alone will take almost 2 hours per day. And the research shows that kiddos at the age of kindergarten through 5th grade should only be online really for 1.5 hours to 2 hours a day. So great question, thank you. Are there more questions? I think that's the last question. If I miss someone's question, my chat is very small. So if you ask your question again, if you feel like I did not, are there any more questions? Again, if you haven't already, please at least put hello in the chat if you attended, so that we know approximately how many parents were able to get on tonight. This same presentation is offered tomorrow night. So if you attended tonight, you do not need to attend the other K-5 parent presentation. However, the 6-8 parent meeting will be held tomorrow evening as well. So if you have a child that is in 6th through 8th grade, we do ask that you attend that meeting because the programs are separate. Again, Mr. Winterhoff, do you see any questions coming in on yours? Because I'm not seeing more questions. If you guys do not have additional questions, again, I will provide the recording as well as the PDF. Right now, you can send all additional questions to cpuonline@cpuschools.org. Mr. Winterhoff is answering those questions right now for us. Thank you very much. Thank you to all the CPU staff for all of your hard work to get this online option available for our kiddos. Yes, so thank you for saying that. The administrative team, as well as now Mr. Winterhoff, who thought he was able to retire, has been brought back so that we can provide a safe option that families will feel comfortable. This, again, is something in a pandemic that we have not dealt with before. And so I appreciate parents and family being extremely patient with us as well. So thank you for that. And
Yeah, and good luck to everyone. And remember, email if you have questions. And we're going to do the best we can, make it the best experience every student can have, because they deserve that.
so please do not get frustrated with us, because you may be getting several emails here trickled over the next, 3 to 5 days that we're going to be reaching out to you. Again, for those of you that also may have a child that is on an IEP, are in TAG or a 504, we are also going to be reaching out to you to make sure that we have everything that we need available.
Also, one more thing about the emails. I have an entire K-8 group, and then I have a separate K-2 group, a 3-5 group, and a 6-8 group. So sometimes you might think, well, I got this. Is this for my, which kid is it for? So I try to put, if it's for middle school, it's a middle school email and only goes to those people, even though you might be in every single group. So we'll do the best we can.
Yes. So that is my new thing this year, that Center Point Urbana staff and administration thank all of you for your grace, because again, this is new for all of us. And we want all of you to know that our goal is that your child is still part of the Center Point Urbana community family, and that you are still a CPU student. So when we're saying communicate with us, please communicate with us. If you are frustrated or you have questions, we don't know that unless you share it with us. So please, that's why it's so important to us that we keep that open communication between who the roster teacher is that you'll be assigned to for each of your children or child, as well as the communication that you'll have with Mr. Winterhoff. Because if you have questions or concerns, likely someone else might be experiencing the same thing. So please ask questions.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
And we will be sending all of this to you. Thank you all very much for being patient with us.